a lot of times, communication is so big, like you said, and depending on how your spouse reacts and the way you kind of learned how you react back, sometimes, the woman will hold back. And one of the things that, they'll say, you have a woman that, is 40 or 50 years old and she walks out of her marriage and they're like, well, why did you do that? Because I've just had it up to here. And then they'll say, but I never saw it coming. Right. So do you work with that too?
That is the number one problem in marriages is communication. Now, if you looked at a marriage, you looked at it in a preventive type of way, then you would want to learn how to communicate. You would want to learn how to be able to ask those questions and be able to communicate. Marriage is a lot of hard work. It really is. And I think we have to learn how to talk to each other and express ourselves, express our viewpoints, express our wants and our needs. And some people don't have that when they're young. They don't even know what it is they want. But when you get to a marriage after 20 years and you still don't know what you want, it's sad. But there is help. There is help. If you think you've fallen out of love, that's where you want to come to talk to me, because I'm going to show you how to communicate. And it's about applying grace in every relationship, especially in your marriage. You have to apply grace because we don't always know what each other wants.
I think it's so other-centered, though.
I'm sorry? What?
Other-centered. It's not about,
it is.
When we start getting into ourselves and what we want and seeing things our way and we're using I all the time, then I think we start losing each other.
That's why it's so important to remember the relationship in relation to God and or Jesus and the church.
Right. Well, there's one thing that my daughter's 22, and I love her and her generation, but she'll tell me some stuff every once in a while, and I think about future marriages, and that you'll hear things. Well, you're supposed to please me, and and that you're supposed to please that person with everything, but you have to please me. It's like, if I do this for you, you need to do this for me. And I'm like, oh, as I listen to her group of friends talk about that, and I'm like, well, let little old mommy here have a little marriage talk with you about, you're not getting married yet, but let me tell you something. It's a little bit more different than that.
Marriage is eye-opening.
And so I think I'm really excited about what you're doing, because with the marriage divorce rate now, it's good to see that there's people out there that love the institution of marriage and are willing to, step out and listen and help them. One of the other things I wanted to ask you is about having fun in your marriage. I mean, I love to have fun, and sometimes, I don't know if you've seen this too, is that what happens is that everybody gets so serious.
Yes.
And, and I can understand it, deadlines and commitments and all that. But when you first got together, what did you do? You played.
That's right, you played. You had dates.
You had dates. So tell us, what do you think about dates?
Dates are vital. I think you need to have dates. Now, everybody, again, has their own way of dating. They have their the things that they like to do that's going to be, that fits their marriage and their lifestyle. But you have to find out things that you can do together. You have to play together. You can't take life so seriously. When you find yourself in that situation where you feel like, oh, well, I'm not getting the love or I'm not getting the attention, then you should take the responsibility to set that date up.
Yes.
You should find out some things that your husband or your wife likes to do, and you be the initiator of it. See, the me generation, me never gets. Me does not get.
It doesn't work.
You can't get by getting. You get by giving, and you start by giving first. You give that love first. You give that attention first. God honors that. Now, I know that I tend to be a very positive person, and I know there's some marriages that are not positive, but I do know that God requires you to do your part. We cannot change our spouse. We can only do our part, and God will honor that by protecting us, by changing our spouse. We can't change our spouse.
No.
We just have to start loving and trying to spend quality time with our spouse, whether you think they like it or not. You just have to start giving them love and initiate that love and let God work through that love.
Well, one of the things, and I think that you've experienced this too, is that the things that we used to do when we were first married for fun has changed. Well, a lot of maybe you can't be climbing the highest mountain or whatever, or scuba diving like you used to or whatever. But that's the one thing that I've had to really concentrate on is watching my husband in his changing because of his responsibility and everything, and trying to figure out what are the things that he really loves to do. And of course, he loves to go on cruises because then he gets unplugged. Well, one of the things that my husband loves to do is smoke a cigar. And when this first started happening, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. But I tell you what, it's one of the biggest blessings of my life is to go outside with my husband. And I don't smoke the cigar, he smokes a cigar. But it's about a 2.5 hour smoke. And in that 2.5 hours, he lets me know how much he loves me. He tells me all about his day. He actually gets romantic. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, so having that time where I take what I want to do and put it aside and allow him to do what he wants to do, I get to see a side of my husband that I wouldn't get to see if I didn't do that. And so there's a lot of times when I'm sitting there with him and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, 2.5 hours. And then he'll open up and he'll say something to me and I'll go, you really think that? You really going through that? And he'll go, yes. And then as I talk to him and then I listen to him, then it's like romance comes back into the air, and it's really great.
That's actually a principle of the sowing and reaping, because see, you pay attention to your husband, and what did you receive? You received more than you ever gave to him.
That's good. That's really good.
And I think it's very key that we pay attention to our spouses, find out what they like, what their interests are, and do something with them, as simple as sitting on the back porch while he smokes a cigar.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's really that simple. That's how you can keep the love going.
Yeah, and there's something about when he's sitting out there, he gets energized. It's like, the work week just kind of falls off. I mean, he only does this like once a month, but I've actually, I look forward to that now. It's just a really good time. It's a great time.
Well, it's a little different for me. My husband goes on the deck. We built a deck downstairs. And it's really beautiful down there. It's like you can see all of your trees here. It's just really relaxing. So he'll sit down and have a beer, and I'll sit, and he just starts talking about what happened at work that day and how his week is going. And I love his job. He's a air traffic control supervisor, but the lingo, I understand the lingo and all that now because over time I've listened to these stories. So I sit there and I'm just like, it's fascinating to me.
It's entertaining.
Yes, it is. And it kind of takes you back to when you first started dating too, where you really you were interested in what they had to say and you were really listening. And he loves that instead of
you were captivated.
Yes.
That's the word that came up as when you were first dating. I mean, everything they said, you were like, and I think that when I'm sitting with Gordon in that moment, it's like, I'm actually captivated by him. There's something, the twinkle in his eyes, and I don't know, but it's because it's not about me.
Right.
It's about him.
That's right.
But isn't it also that he's really, to me, I'm just going to say it, it's really sexy that my husband loves what he does, and when he talks about it, he's energized and passionate about it. So I feel good when he's talking about it. Well, tell me some more. Sexy.
Again, you are letting your husband be who he is, and so that he was revealing to both of you who your husbands are. And because that's what we ladies want. We want to know where they're at in their thinking. What's going on, because we want to lift them up. And be an encouragement to them. You can't lift your husband up and be an encouragement if you never hear them talk to you, or you never have those times where you get to listen to them and experience their work and experience their life.
Stay tuned for part 3 as Debbie Kessler shares about how to stay in love once you say, I do. To learn more about how you can partner with this cutting-edge organization, contact us at www.gabbingirls.com.